Coming up, the bull lies down with the bear, and they make beautiful music together. I'm Sean Cole from APM, American Public Media. This is The Story.
Dear Chairman Ben, I never thought that I might see
the day our tools, they would blend so perfectly.
My fiscal measures and your monetary level.
I'm Sean Cole, sitting in for Dick Gordon.
This is the story of the price of gold, the one commodity you shouldn't have sold. Price rises higher.
How lucky to graduate from college in the spring of 2008, just in time for the global financial crisis. These guys, Kyle Thompson Westra and Ryan Stotland, had a bit of a leg up in that they'd both studied economics at Tufts, so at least they could start to make some sense of the credit crisis and the recession. And as they pieced together more and more what had happened, they, of course, wrote 16 songs about it. Songs like the one you're hearing right now, called Gold Price Factors.
Growing source for world demand that's been a growing force. Demand curve shifting largely to the right.
Kyle and Ryan are the folk duo The Bull and the Bear, and they named their debut record Recession Sessions. We asked Kyle to go into a studio in D.C. where he lives, and we called Ryan at his office in Sao Paulo, Brazil. Kyle told me the band pretty much started by accident.
We would be in each other's rooms trying to study for a test. The other would be kind of idly picking away on the guitar, and, you know, in moments of boredom, we would start combining the two, and it actually helped to remember some of the concepts.
There was a song, Thug's Mansion, that we'd like to change the words to based on what we were studying.
Oh, there was an existing song called Thug's Mansion, and you do a spoof of it.
Yeah, it's a Tupac song, but that has an acoustic version.
Do you remember how your version went?
Not really.
It was for our psychology class, I remember that.
Yeah.
I'm sure Tupac would be proud. So wait, so like one of you is just sort of reading out of the textbook and the other's putting it to music, or?
That's just what we would do occasionally, but for the actual songwriting, Ryan's more of the songwriter in the group, and he would just come up with lyrics, and we'd fool around on guitar, trying to find something that works, and eventually we started doing it more and more with economics-themed songs.
And it was only after we graduated, and Kyle was in China, and I had started working at an economic research firm in Montreal called BCA Research, and it was right in July 2008, and I remember everyone was real concerned about stagflation, and I was just finding the term stagflation to be humorous in some ways. And I was walking home from work, and I had this chorus of a song in my head. I'm having nightmares of stagflation, because I just love this overriding fear of this thing called stagflation. I'm running out of room. The overnight rate's way too low. It's either bust or boom. And then I got home and I sort of wrote the rest of the lyrics to that song. It was all about the dilemma that a central banker faces with stagflation, because when he lowers the interest rate, he makes the inflation problem worse, and when he raises the interest rate, he makes the growth problem worse. And so it's a real quandary for central bankers, and I thought it was a good subject matter for a song.
Wait a second. It was a real quandary for central bankers, and you thought it was a good topic for a song. Is there any way you can connect those dots for me? Because
it was just a really funny thing to be really afraid of stagflation.
It was funny, so you put it to music.
Yeah.
I'm having nightmares of stagflation. We're running out of room. The overnight rate's way too low. It's either bust or boom. Liquidity is almost gone. I just passed out on that bench. Ben Bernanke, can you spare a drop? My thirst must be quenched. The subprime debt steadily climbs. The write-offs just won't stop. Maestro, what have you done? Your reputation shot.
So Ryan was in Montreal at the time. I was spending the summer in China, in Beijing, with a friend, given the horrible work environment when it came to graduation time. So we were emailing lyrics and little ideas for music back and forth, which is actually how a lot of the songs ended up being written. So kind of through this online collaboration, just through email, recording little bits here and there, we were able to kind of come up with the song Central Banker's Dilemma as it turned out to be.
So that was the name of that first song, Central Banker's Dilemma.
Right.
Ben Bernanke, where's your sense? You gotta listen to the hawks. Just look at the ECB, inflation targeting would never stop. Opened up the paper, headline inflation 5.6. Since your target was roughly 2, you must be feeling mighty sick.
So, but this is quite a time for you guys to be graduating in 2008.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, are you graduating like right as everything is hitting the fan?
Basically.
Yeah. May 2008, I guess.
Right. So a lot of the people that we had classes with, our economics classes, were interviewing with kind of the big investment banks or consulting firms. I remember in particular a friend who I think had a really great interview with Bear Stearns, and he got a little tote bag from it. It says Bear Stearns on the side. He still carries it around. It's kind of taken on a ironic meaning now.
Right.
But it really highlights kind of how much the work environment for people in that field changed.
Was any part of your writing these tunes a way of kind of like processing that anxiety?
Bear Stearns went bankrupt. That was like in March 2008, kind of before we graduated. Like the Fed bailed them out, and the whole thing wasn't like that big for. I don't know. Didn't seem like that big of an event to me at the time. It was only until I graduated.
Right.
And when I was in school, it was more just like you're studying formulas and everything makes sense. And then when I graduated, just nothing made sense. No one understood anything, and no one had predicted this crisis. And so for me, a lot of it was just trying to figure out like how this happened, and more of a debate within myself, like which economists were right.
And trying to clarify all of the issues for yourself.
Right. I think a lot of it was just kind of playing devil's advocate to the other and just taking on different roles, trying out different arguments that we're reading about and trying to see how much they hold up to muster. So over the next 2 years, a lot happened with the financial crisis, with the Great Recession. So there was a lot to write